Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I want to come to you with a commentary video on what a lot of people are claiming is the mass non-compliance of the ATF pistol brace rule. Only about 260,000 people registered their braced pistols under the offered amnesty registration. Now, a lot of people out there, including content creators and people in the comment section of my videos, are all saying, see, this is mass non-compliance. We all banded together. Well, is that really true and what happened? And I think the truth is very important because knowledge is power. It's important not to get sucked into things like confirmation bias. And I'm going to have a lot of analogies in this video, so I hope you can bear with me. But I think this is something that we need to dissect and figure out and really decide, is what we want to happen really what happened? Because in the future, this kind of thing may happen again, and we want to have the most knowledge of history. We just don't want to make assumptions. So when it comes to confirmation bias, a lot of us have certain beliefs that we want to believe that when certain things happen, it's because we were right, whether or not there's any evidence that what we believe was actually true. A good example would be someone that might have, let's just say, religious leanings, and they have a job that they don't like, and they pray to God, I need to find a better job. And so they go out job hunting, and lo and behold, they find a new job, a job that they absolutely love. Well, that person that is extremely religious or has those tendencies might say, see, this is absolute proof that God or whatever deity they believe in exists because I wanted this new job and I got it. It's a sign. When somebody from the outside might go, well, you were unhappy with your job and you actively went out and searched for a job and you were highly qualified for another job and you got that job. It doesn't seem like there was much divine intervention involved. But to the person that got that new job because they have confirmation bias or are looking for that confirmation, it makes complete sense to them. Now, how does that relate to the pistol braces? Well, obviously, there's a lot of people out there in the firearms world and in the YouTube gun community that want it to be mass non-compliance, that we're just giving a big middle finger to the DOJ, the ATF, and the Biden administration. And so when only 260,000 of these things were registered, it just goes to show we won. It's a complete fail on their part. But people don't stop to ask, is that what really happened? Because there could be more things at play here. And it's really important to dissect those things out. So let's talk about some options. Obviously, some people could have destroyed their guns or turned them in, but as far as I can tell, nobody did that. And that is a great thing. That was an option that people were given, but I think only stupid people would have done that. Now, other options, and I had a lot of people in the comment sections of my video, especially if they had AR-15 type of pistols, said, I'm going to slap on a 16-inch barreled upper on this, not even worry about the rule. And if a lot of people did that, well, they weren't going to register those guns anyway. So they're still complying with the rule, they just did a route where they didn't have to register it. Another option that many people probably did that were aware of the rule was simply remove the brace. That's it. They didn't want to register, or they live in a place where you can't register. They just simply remove the brace. But by removing the brace, guess what they did? They complied with the rule. And this could have been a large majority of people. So just because they didn't register it doesn't mean there was mass non-compliance. It's really important to understand that a lot of us live in a bubble. Another analogy I'm going to use is going all the way back to the 2016 election. I remember talking to many of my liberal friends, and yes, I actually have liberal friends who were really surprised that Donald Trump won that election. because they said, well, in their close-knit circle, they didn't know anybody that voted for Trump. Well, because they didn't know anybody else, and all the media that they watched, whether that be CNN or MSNBC, hated Trump. It was going to be a landslide for Hillary Clinton, and all of a sudden Donald Trump won, so it took them by surprise. Well, how, once again, does this relate to the pistol brace stuff? Well, many of you probably consume gun content, and a lot of gun content. You're watching the legal firearms channels. You're watching content creators like me or others, and we're talking about this, so you're acutely aware of what is going on, and you assume, because all of your fellow gun friends do the same, that everybody knows about this. So this goes to what I actually think happened. Most people that own guns with attached stabilizing braces honestly had no idea what was going on. Did the DOJ or the ATF publish rules and make a big campaign about it? No, they just did what they were legally supposed to do and publish it in the National Register, change the rule, and that was it. How many of you guys go to the National Register online and see all the different rule changes from all the different agencies? I guarantee you don't. And many of those rules are going to be implemented that actually affect your life. But because you don't follow that, because you have a life and a family and a career and a job and free time to pursue your hobbies, you're not doing that. So you're not in the loop. You're not invested in these other things that these agencies are going to change the rules about. The analogy that I give on this is, imagine you live in a town, and ever since you can remember, the speed limit through Main Street was 35 miles an hour. It's always been that way before you got a driver's license, when you learned to drive, and for years after. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, a mayor is elected. And that mayor doesn't like the fact that it's 35 miles an hour on Main Street. And so in one of the city council meetings, he has a rule change. He says, we're going to change it. And there's a vote. And then they do what they're legally supposed to do. They change the sign, but it's in the same place and it looks pretty much the same because it's just one digit difference. And maybe they post some type of public notice about it on a piece of paper on the courthouse door. But are you going to the courthouse, and did you go to every city council meeting? Well, no, you didn't, because most people don't do that. They just go about their lives. And then one day you're driving down Main Street and a cop pulls you over and goes, "Sir, you're going 10 miles over the speed limit." And you go, "Wait, it's 35 miles an hour through this town." And he goes, "Nope, the rule has changed. So you're getting a ticket." You had no idea. And as they say, ignorance is not an excuse for breaking the law. So, I can tell you that I personally know that there is a vast amount of gun owners out there that are not dorks, and I use that in a very kind sense, like you or I, because we are dorks. We're nerds. We love guns. We love firearms. We follow all the politics that surround the Second Amendment. We watch content all the time. We read all of the different sites that deal with firearms politics. But guess what? Most people don't. They had no idea that this rule change was even in effect. And the only thing they may have heard about it is some type of news story in their local news where the Biden administration is telling people to register their guns. Well, most people are like, well, all the guns I bought were bought legally at a gun store or a gun show. I don't got to register that. They must be going after those evil assault weapons that are fully automatic, not knowing that they're actually covered by this. I can tell you that I personally believe, and maybe this is my bias, is that most people are ignorant on this. They had no idea that a rule was even changed and that they were required to register those braced pistols. They might not even know beforehand the difference between a stock and a brace. They just know that they were legally allowed to buy a certain gun at a gun shop or a gun show and take it home, and they've had that gun for years. Maybe they don't even bring it out of the safe, and it's one of only a handful of guns that they own. They don't follow this stuff, and they had no idea. Even though they own one of these, they don't follow gun politics like you or I. And I honestly think that could account for the vast majority of people out there. So here's what I am proposing. And this is just a thought experiment, because I have seen a number of other YouTubers out there that are saying this is a massive fail. I think this is 3D chess on their part. Was it really a massive fail? Because think about this. Their ultimate goal is to confiscate these weapons. They don't want you or I to have them. And a lot of people were saying, well, if you register it now, they know you have it and they can come and get it. However, the National Firearms Act has been around for almost 100 years, and we've never seen anything like that happen, even when it comes to machine guns. I mean, after all, if they were going to go after anything and go confiscate door to door, wouldn't they go after what they consider to be the most dangerous of all types of weapons? Machine guns? It's never happened. So I really doubt they're going to come to your door because you had a braced pistol. So what is the ultimate goal? As I said, confiscation. But they can't confiscate people's guns that go through a legal process, that you have a document now. So you can go to a judge and go to a court and say, I followed all of the rules. I did my responsibility. I did what I was supposed to do. And they're going, well, yeah, they can't take that. That's the rules, the law. But what about those people that were ignorant of the law? They're still going to gun ranges. Or what about those people that did honestly not comply with the law and kept the brace on their gun? Which I think if you're not going to comply, just go ahead and throw a stock on that puppy. But if you kept the brace on it and you're like, I'm not going to comply. Well, if you're brave enough to go to the range and an ATF officer happens to be there, now he's going to go, hey, do you get your paperwork on that? And you're going to go, no, whether or not you didn't comply or were completely ignorant. And now the ATF can be like, listen, we don't want you to go to jail for 10 years and pay $250,000 in fines. That's crazy. We don't want to make an example of you. However, the rule and the law has changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer you a way out of this. Sign this document that forfeits your property over to us, and this problem goes away. So just hand that firearm over to us. We caught you with it. Sign the document. We're not going to prosecute you. We're not going to go after you, but we just get to take your gun. So a lot of people out there are saying, this is a massive fail. But is it really? Or was it a massive success? The fact that so few people went through the process to make their guns legal, whether that be putting on a 16-inch barrel, detaching the stabilizing brace, or registering it, that now, when they come across somebody, whether they openly defied the rule or were just completely ignorant, now they have a mechanism and a way to legally confiscate those guns. And I don't think they're going to try to make an example out of anybody. They're not going to say, we're going to arrest you and ruin your life. They're just going to say, all we want is for you to turn over that gun. Sign this document, giving it to us. We'll destroy it. You're free to go, and that's it. They ultimately get the gun in the end. So what do you think? Could that be a possibility? I know that we all want to have that confirmation bias. We all want to believe certain things, but it's always important to have truth and facts on our side and to be honest with ourselves, because as I said, knowledge is power. We all know that we're going to have to be fighting these battles for our Second Amendment rights in the future. And if people are that willing to roll over for false information, to believe certain things, and to play the games when the masterminds above them are playing 3D chess, they know what their next move has to be. So as I said, I don't have any answers on this, but I'm just going from what I'm noticing. And what I know is typical of human nature. People are going to want to believe the confirmation bias. It was mass noncompliance, when in actuality it probably was mass ignorance. But then when people say it was a massive failure, was it? Or was it a massive success? Because now there's so many guns out there that they now have a legal mechanism for confiscating without having to make a big deal of it. After all, if you legally registered your firearm and they come and get it and take it away, well, that is a big problem. That could make national headlines and national news. But if you don't have the paperwork, you defied the law or didn't know about it, well, you're in possession of an illegal SBR. But the nice government isn't going to prosecute you. They're only asking that you turn it over to them. Was it a massive fail or was it a massive success? This is just a little thought experiment, but I'm asking you to be reflective on your own beliefs and try to figure out what the truth is, because the truth matters. The facts matter, and knowledge is power. So, massive failure, massive success, and was it really mass non-compliance, or was it mass ignorance? I'm curious what your thoughts are in the comments section below, and I hope that this dialogue and this commentary at least planted some seeds of thought. It's important to always question reality. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And, as always, thanks for watching.